Does anybody remember Nickelodeon having a banger video game in the 2000s? Hello everyone, it's Jay, and the 2000s were a wild time for free-to-play games online. From the Newgrounds website with free-to-play games, to that one amazingly good Flash player Gorillas game that came out in the 2000s, there were numerous hits that were free-to-play when you and your boys were BSing in English computer class. And let me tell you right now, that was the best time to be alive because tablets were not a thing, and the only thing you really had to worry about was putting a virus on the school's property because you were trying to play free-to-play games while in class and avoiding your schoolwork. But one game that really stood out from the rest of them was none other than Nicktropolis, which was a free-to-play MMO that was created by Nickelodeon in 2006. Now, you could say that Nicktropolis was just a copy of Club Penguins that was released by Disney a year prior, but what was unique about Nicktropolis was its characters. It literally had all of its cartoons in a video game. In the 2000s, there were a lot of Nickelodeon games that you could buy for like PS2 or your Xbox, but it really didn't have a clash of all the characters whenever it came to gaming. From Jimmy Neutron to Danny Phantom, you could experience your favorite cartoon characters in a free online to play experience. Sadly, there isn't much gameplay out there for this video. However, I did use some assets as in like commercials and some other assets that we will talk about. As stated before, Nicktropolis was an MMO game that was built like more of a chat room for kids. Internet at the time, and even to this day, doesn't have numerous options to make it safe for kids. But around this time in the 2000s, whenever I was a kid, we had options like Club Penguin or Nicktropolis, which truthfully made for a safe and fun experience. From visiting SpongeBob's Pineapple House to building your own room, which was amazingly cool, to customizing your character in different clothing, you could have an experience like The Sims without all the adult content. It was a really unique experience to have. There was a lot you could do inside the game, and at the time in the early 2000s, I do remember there being a treasure map hunt in like some creepy cave that had like the Nickelodeon goop or whatever you would call it, but I can't really find footage of that because it's just so old. And speaking on footage, all the footage I'm using now comes from none other than Content Creator Interface, and if you want to check the video out in full, I will leave a link in the description below. But what is truly interesting about Nicktropolis is the fandom behind it. Simply looking up Nicktropolis on Google, you will find that there are a ton of TikToks about this online game. The game was released around 2006 and 2007, but was then renamed The Club in 2010, and from there on, it went through a few changes until about 2016, when the servers were killed off and the game was no longer available. The fans, who are pretty much based on nostalgia now, aka me, found a few assets of the game online, but it really wasn't enough to recreate the whole experience of the 2000s, which is kind of sad. This game was really amazing at the time. I can really see why there's still fans of this and why people really wanted to come back. I mean, the customization in that game was just superior, and then you could invite your friends into whatever you created and kind of basically show it off. It was just so awesome. On top of that, Nicktropolis had a whole bunch of mini games that would allow you to have this point system, which would give you more freedom to express yourself, basically like a in-game purchase system without using real currency. There was so much of a fan base behind this game that in 2023, a re-release called Nicktropolis Time Warp was open to the public for you to download and experience yourself. There is a few articles out there stating that a user going by Time Warp Molly created this re-release, but whenever I dig on the web for this download, I come across multiple download links, some with comments stating to let the re-release of the game have access to your computer in order for you to just have some nostalgia, which to me seems kind of sketch for a 2006 MMO to have access to your full computer. But I would really like to do this on a virtual machine, and hell, that might actually make good content in the future. But going back to Nicktropolis. This game was Nickelodeon's spin on Club Penguins, and to be honest, just seemed to be like a more fun experience. I was on Nicktropolis more than I was on Club Penguin. It was limitless on what you could do, free to play, and the thing that made it safe for kids was the pre-rendered chat dialogue that you could use, which let parents know that this truly was a safe way of entertainment. Like I stated in the beginning, the footage you have seen throughout this video came from content creator interface and some advertisements for the game. But I have to add that interface was using the re-release of the game from 2023, which is why it seems so bare, while the advertisements were from the time period from when the game was actually playable. This will be the end of my video, guys. Did you have the same experience of playing Nicktropolis back in the day like I did? Or do you want to try it out for yourself with the re-release, because there are a lot of nostalgia hints in the re-release. But with that being said, if you happen to like my content, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you think, and stay nostalgic, people. I'm out.